Don't revoke BP's corporate charter, and they'll be off the hook, and then the US taxpayer's gonna get stuck with the cleanup bill, right? Besides, like, they stopped the spill, everything's cool now. False! Opposite! In fact, quite the opposite. Currently, BP has an escrow fund of $20 billion, but there's a catch. Just like after 9/11, if you want to make a claim to this fund, you have to sign away your right to sue for damages later on. And we all know how well that worked out for the 9/11 rescue workers. Or maybe you don't. They're all being fucked over and they're all dying of lung disease. That's how well it turned out. We have no idea what the long-term health effects are going to be from this spill. From the oil as well as the dispersants to hide the oil and send it to the ocean floor, which is now allowing unnatural toxic compounds to work their way through the food web. BP's cleanup responsibilities are capped by law at $75 million, which is absurd when you compare it to the actual amount of damages done to the environment, to people's health, to people's businesses. As soon as BP spends more than this, they're off the hook. After they've spent that much, they can just call it quits, no matter how much spill is left to clean up. Which is exactly what they're doing. The cap of $75 million seems even more absurd when you account for the fact that just last year, BP made more than 186 times that in profits alone. Just last year. That's profits. That's what they had laying around after they'd paid all their bills, after they got done paying their expenses, paying for wages, paying for pensions, paying for licensing fees, paying for leasing rights, paying for purchases of equipment. Hey taxpayers, don't want to get stuck with a cleanup bill? Too late, you already have! You should know that BP is currently claiming a $10 billion tax credit for the cleanup of this spill. Yes, you heard correctly, they want the US taxpayer to foot the bill for what they should be doing anyway. Well, what about the legal claims against them? Well, if this spill ends up being anything like the Exxon Valdez spill, legal claims could be tied up in courts for the next 20 years. Many of the plaintiffs will die as a result of the toxins that they've been exposed to. And after a claim is finally won, it will be reduced to a mere pittance. Another possible outcome if we fail to revoke BP's corporate charter is they could pull a Union Carbide. After the explosion at the Union Carbide plant in Bhopal, India, which had released toxic gases that killed hundreds and injured thousands, Union Carbide simply folded and sold all their assets to Dow Chemical. Dow Chemical has refused to pay out any of the claims against Union Carbide, and the CEOs of Union Carbide just jumped ship with millions of dollars in hand. So, if you really don't want the US taxpayer to get stuck with the bill, and you really want to see things done right, then you should really be in favor of revoking BP's corporate charter. If BP's corporate charter is revoked, they won't have the right to do business in the United States anymore. Their assets will be seized, and they will be put into receivership, which means that the government will have control of their assets and the legal obligation to pay all claims against them. Bills, fines, lawsuits. Rather than holding on to that $14 billion of annual profits, those $14 billion could instead be sent to doing what's right, cleaning up the Gulf, paying for the damages to people's health, paying for the damages to the environment, paying for the damages to people's livelihoods, paying for the damages to our planet. And most upsetting of all is this is just one spill that I've been talking about here. BP has been playing it fast and loose for years. How the hell are we supposed to trust that they're going to do any better the next time? When they go up to Alaska to drill, which they've said they're going to do. Or when they go back to drill in the same exact spot as the Deepwater Horizon, which they've also said they're going to do. They didn't change after any of the other times that they fucked up. In Alaska, Texas City, etc. So why should this be any different? If you look at this company's history, it's obvious that so long as they're making profits, they could give a rat's ass what the consequences are. Please join me in the push to revoke BP's corporate charter. As Tony Hayward once said, we can get this done. We can make this right. The Punk Patriot is viewer-supported media. Miley Cyrus produces art and gets compensated for it. I produce political videos and receive no compensation from anyone. If you'd like to support my work, please donate, or buy a t-shirt. To those of you who are spreading the word about the show and sharing it with their friends, thank you. Word of mouth is the only way the show has ever grown.